Boué, Siaka Traoré,
Tokpa Moulba, Tounkara Kamara Aminata, Issé, Ea Haïdara. I hope you get their names. For the second the first parliament, and thereafter the session agenda planning, joint and ad hoc committee, project to the administration and finance committee. The ordinary session of our parliament is there again in accordance with the established traditions of our parliament. It is my immeasurable privilege and honor to have you back in Abuja, the seat of the parliament. Your continued massive turnout, as well as the volume and quality of work you do at each session, enlarges the cost of our goodwill among our people, as well as organs and institutions of the community. Such level of dedication justifies the confidence they repose in us as their worthy representatives. I therefore most warmly welcome you and all our distinguished guests. This session is indeed a special one in many respects. As you may have observed, our common number of speakers and presiding officers of our national parliament here with us today. They just rose from the 4th Conference of Speakers of West African Parliaments here in Abuja and have come to encourage and support us. Let me note that the conference, which was jointly organized by the National Assembly of the Republic of Benin and the ECOWAS Parliament, with support of the National Assembly of Nigeria, was a conference of revival and collaboration. It is therefore my sincere belief that this newfound energy, resurgence and synergy, is a permanent and consolidated form. On your behalf, dear colleagues, I want to once again reassure them of the support and cooperation of the community parliament. Honorable colleagues, it will further interest you to know that our dear speakers and presiding officers have again reaffirmed their goodwill towards the parliament. As you will recall, the resolution of the Conference of Speakers during their maiden meeting in Accra, Ghana in 1999 helped to catalyze the inauguration of the community parliament in accordance with the ECOWAS Dubai Treaty. This time, they have also risen to the occasion once again by throwing their full weight behind the draft supplementary act for the enhancement of the powers of the community parliament. This is indeed a reiteration of the confidence of people of the community in our capacity to adequately represent their interests and contribute substantially to the quest for the integration and sub-regional development. By this resolution, people of our individual communities have spoken with a collective voice, and as the saying goes, the voice of the people is the voice of God. As institutions and organs are accustomed to being guided by the voice of the people, I have no doubt that the various ECOWAS institutions and organs will pursue this agenda to a satisfactory conclusion. On your behalf again, let me especially appreciate our dear honorable speakers and very distinguished presiding officers for this massive support and solidarity. Meanwhile, dear colleagues, the goal for the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament has never been this bright. It is also getting even brighter by the day. I'm happy to inform you that I was the happy job because they were on the fringes of the session to attend the meeting of the Attorney Generals and Ministers of Justice of ECOWAS, where the draft supplementary act for the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament was fine-tuned. The import of the meeting was to ensure the legal sufficiency of the draft supplementary act. I'm happy to report that the meeting was highly successful and favorable to our portions. It further shows that ECOWAS is truly committed to following the Accra roadmap for the enhancement of the powers of the ECOWAS Parliament religiously. It is expected that the authority of heads of state and government will graciously consider and hopefully adopt the draft supplementary act by the end of the year to make our dreams come true. You would agree with me, therefore, that we are at the threshold of history. May I quickly add and emphasize, however, that this progress would not have been possible without the strong support and solidarity of all ECOWAS sister institutions, organs, and indeed the good people of the sub-region. In particular, the chairman of the Authority of Heads of States, His Excellency President Alassane Ouattara, and our own brother, the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Candidate Desire Quadrigo have been so orderly, understanding and supportive of this project. There's no doubt that their names will be written in gold when the story of the transformation of the ECOWAS Parliament is told. Until then, however, I strongly believe that these great veterans and transformational leaders deserve our loud ovation. May I therefore, with their kind permission, most respectfully ask this distinguished gathering to give honor to whom honor is due. Please may we rise and accord the chairman of the authority and president of the ECOWAS Commission a well-deserved standing ovation. My dear colleagues, let me seize this opportunity to congratulate the government and people of Mali and the ECOWAS for the resounding democratic progress registered in Mali. The peaceful, free, fair and credible elections in Mali was indeed a good deal for democracy, peace, stability, security and development for Mali in particular and the sub-region in general. We at the ECOWAS Parliament warmly congratulate His Excellency President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta on his election as the leader of Mali. It will interest you to know that he was a member of the first legislature of the Community Parliament. It is my hope that the new president will give the people of Mali a family, transformational and deeply democratic leadership. He needs not be reminded that he carries on his shoulder the burden of post-crisis recovery and reconciliation in Mali. We trust that his tenure will give every segment of society a sense of belonging, irrespective of ethno-religious and political leanings. We trust also that he will work to restore total stability, strengthen institutions of democracy, and put the nation on the path of fast recovery and irreversible transformation. May I also, on your behalf, appreciate and congratulate his opponent in the election for Mali's system. I congratulate him because while he might have lost the election, his political maturity and sportsmanship helped the Republic of Mali to win the post-election peace and stability. Unlike where losers would rather foment trouble and stir up protests and instability than accept defeat and allow the winner to recover, Cisse has helped to secure post-election peace in Mali by readily conceding victory to the winner even before the official announcement of the results. We salute his patriotism and democratic spirit. Honorable colleagues, meanwhile, it is also my utmost prayer and hope that the ripples of this democratic milestone will be felt in Guinea-Bissau. The political elites of Guinea-Bissau should imbibe and indeed invoke the spirit of democratic progress and as witnessed in Mali. They should make the sub-region proud by ensuring that political solution is found to the lingering and seemingly intractable political challenges in that country. Political structures should be allowed to grow and mature. All forms of interference by the armed forces of that country should cease forthwith, and total support should be accorded to our friend, the interim president, His Excellency Manuel Serifo Damajo, to steer the country to the promised land. All political actors should work to ensure that a fair and credible presidential election is held in the country at the shortest possible time and before the end of the year. I'm happy that Speaker of Guinea-Bissau is here to take our message home. Dear honorable colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the sub-region has also waged an impressive war against terrorism. I particularly wish to commend the federal government of Nigeria, led by His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan, for the good success recorded so far in the war against terrorism.